Blake's Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. More, hate less, read comics. It's Blake's Buzz Live.
Buzz, buzz, babies.
Hey, Buzz babies, it's your boy Blake, and I am so sorry we were a few minutes late. When you got heavy hitters like we got tonight, I got to keep you all hanging. I got to keep you in anticipation, get your nerve endings tingling, get you ready for it. It's all about tension. Speaking of tension, I've got a great comic to talk to you guys about tonight, but more importantly, I've got the creators here to talk about it. You may have heard of these cats. They've been doing comics for a while. We're talking Batman, we're talking Swamp Thing. I heard one of these guys worked on a book called Sandman with some Neil Gaiman guy. I don't know, man. I just got into comics yesterday. I hear they're big deals. I got Mr. Matt Wagner and Kelley Jones in the house. Gentlemen, oh my goodness, how are you both doing tonight?
Doing great.
Yeah, we're doing great. And I will point out, we both worked on that run of Sandman. I only drew one chapter, but Kelley drew all the rest. But we were both on
wow.
the
I didn't know
that story of the arc. Yeah.
And then I also figure I totally didn't. I mentioned everything, but by the way, Matt is a creator of Grendel, which is another huge comic.
There's that too. Yeah.
There's that.
She's gone the distance.
We're off to a great start. We're late. I forgot Matt wrote Grendel. Oh man, I swear I've done this before. What's up, chat? We Pierre. Yes, we were running a little bit late, but we're here. No worries. Hey, we got fashionably late. That's right. Cole, thanks for tuning in, man. Happy Monday indeed. When you got two guests like this on your show on a Monday night, it makes the work day a lot more tolerable, because I've been really stoked to talk to you guys all day about this crazy Kickstarter campaign you guys are running. Where did you guys come up with this Dracula character? It's a pretty fresh idea.
Kelley and I have been friends for like many years. I think we figured it out the other day. I think it's almost 35 years or more.
Something like that.
Oh, wow.
And we've constantly said to each other, we got to do something together someday. And by that, we both knew we meant something big, not just a one shot or a one off or something like that, or even just a couple of issues. We wanted something that would like be ours, And it's just a couple of years ago. I posted something on Facebook, and Kelley responded with that same old echo of we got to do something. Mm-hmm. And I contacted him. I said, "Are you serious about that? Because now I have an idea, and I think it's perfect for us. I think it'll make just a sublime collaboration." Because I'd been brewing on this Dracula idea for a long time, and but it's gonna take a commitment, because I had this planned out to be 4 graphic novels. So the Kickstarter that's running right now is for book 1, called The Impaler, Dracula Book 1, The Impaler. But it will ultimately be 4, at least 4 graphic novels. And when I approached Kelley about this, his response,
I was completely all in. It was such a good. When a pitch on the phone is exciting, I mean, not just like, oh, that's a good idea, but like, that's really good. That I've not heard of that. I've not seen that in all the Dracula lore, whether it's film or books or comics or whatever. It was utterly brand new and gripping. And I knew if I was just hearing it that way, and then subsequently, a few months later, when he sent me the script, I didn't even want to call him back. I didn't want to call him after the first read. I read it a couple of times because I liked it so much. I wanted to read it again. And so I sat down and read it again, and I went, this is phenomenal. And one of those things that draws itself. You just know when you get it, it's not going to be like this effort to do, or, oh, here's a tough part. It was just, it was one of those things that when it comes along, you just grab it. And I've always known, I've always admired Matt's work, and I've always thought he was a tremendous creator. But to actually read one of his scripts like this, and like a big thing like this, it was phenomenal. It was like I tell him all the time, not saying it was like the best story I ever got.
Wow.
I want to point out to your viewers here too, Blake, that what we're talking about here is not an adaptation of the novel. There have been a bunch of comic book adaptations of the novel. We are telling the stories in and around that story,
and that's why I said I had never seen anything like this.
There's
I know what it was. I mean, he told me on the phone what it would be, but but when you get into the panel to panel, page by page thing, it was its whole new world, and it was utterly Dracula.
Yeah,
I mean, feel anything was off. It was all canon. It was everything. In fact, I felt I got to know the character better through reading a script than through all the years of my devotion to that character.
Yes. Yeah, dude. Same, Kelley. Like, I am so in agreement with that. I mean, like, I will lift Matt up with you. Like, yes, he's a great creator in the
I don't
script
say that because he's a friend. It's, in fact, I'm glad it was good, because what if it sucked?
Yeah, then you're stuck. Then you're like, how do I tell him?
Yeah, how do I tell him?
Yeah, it's good.
So excited to draw
something
this.
special. No, it was that good. And I remember telling my wife, who's a civilian, who not into okay, I'm good. This is what I'm doing. You will, when you don't see me on half of Thanksgiving because I'm working, this is why. So call him, because I'm really digging this.
It's Matt's fault.
But anybody that's a fan of the original novel, like both Kelley and I are, and so many people are, that novel's created what I contend is the most famous literary character of all time.
Yeah.
Well, it's the Bible of horror.
Yeah.
Say it again.
It's like the Bible of horror. It's
yeah. But it reaches beyond horror. The name Dracula, the immediate visual image that it conjures in people's mind, literally stretches to every culture in the world.
Yep.
Yeah, we all want
when you read the novel
from the dead and ruin our lives. Like, every culture has a story of things that come back and just ruin everybody's day. It's a universal worldwide cultural trait.
Sure. Those legends have been around forever. That era of literature, though, beginning with Carmilla by Sheridan Le Fanu and The Vampire by John Polidori, were the first instances where all of a sudden the vampire wasn't just this revenant ghoul that came out of the grave and preyed upon people. It had an aristocratic air. It had an air of civilization, of etiquette and charm. But when you read that first book, it goes beyond charm into magnetism. Dracula is not in the book all that much. He's not on stage all that much. The initial scenes where Jonathan Harker goes to Transylvania and is in his castle, he's present all the time. As soon as he gets to London, he kind of disappears from the stage. He's a very shadowy, haunting presence that whose kind of vile influence is felt by all the characters and in every situation. But he's not on stage very much.
And I think
as a kid, I was like, I want more Dracula. And Kelley wanted more Dracula.
Yeah,
we wanted more Dracula.
I think it felt like more Dracula when you read the book, because he's like quotable through the whole thing. Everyone remembers everything he says, so it seems like there was more. And what I felt Matt did was he took this character that we know the stereotypical stuff about him and made him fully three-dimensional and made him a complete person. It made him far more interesting and, frankly, far more frightening. Everything about him is you never know what when I was reading it, I kept thinking, I don't know what he's going to do on the next page.
Yeah.
And normally I can read where something's going. I mean, I had no idea where he was going. And that is the mark of something good. But everywhere he got was satisfying. Everywhere Matt got, I went, that's him.
It was that aspect that Kelley's talking about there was really important for me to maintain as a writer, because in so many of the various cinematic incarnations of Dracula, there's a romantic element. It bled all through Coppola's version. Of course, it's in the Frank Langella version. That's not in the books at all. That's not in the original novel at all. There's no romantic attachment to anybody. He's a he's a creature of prey, throughout the entire thing, and
Yeah.
he's just a monster.
Yeah, everybody else is
he's
fucking.
a very smart, sophisticated monster, but he's a monster.
Well, Matt would do this thing that I liked, where he would tell me, "Oh, I'm doing this thing," and it was very sophisticated, very literary, very, very the arcs and where we're going and all the, all this kind of stuff. And then other times he'd call me, and go, "Man, this scene is so gory. What he does to this, what he does to this woman here, what he does to this guy here is, oh, you're gonna love this. It's so graphic." And I'm like going, "That's what you want to hear, is fully formed character arc, beginning, middle, and end." All the foreshadowing, all the good stuff, and then
delivers the goods,
and then it does that.
It does. It goes back and forth. It a great transition between like sexy and surrealty and just like really intense.
Matt kept Dracula.
Like, yeah,
I mean, he's Dracula. That's Dracula. When you buy a ticket to a Dracula, that's what you want to see. And so Matt,
and it was crucial to this being the origin story, how he becomes a vampire. It was crucial that we recognize him as Dracula without his vampirism yet. The vampirism is almost just a cherry on top of the character that he is. It's not like he becomes this evil monster due to his vampirism. He just gets better at it. It's like Tony Soprano, going to see Dr. Melfi, and he just gets better at being a gangster.
Yeah. I totally agree. Shout out to the chat. Comics by the Bay is in here. Comics by the Bay and his numerous other personas. Thanks for giving me those metrics, baby. Appreciate you. Kevin Joseph, everybody. What's up, dude? Another comic creator. He says Coppola's version seems to have stolen the plot from The Mummy and smushed it into Dracula.
Yeah.
Well, they stole it from actually Richard Matheson. Wrote a Dan Curtis television movie of Dracula, and that's really
the first instance of it.
Yeah, that's where they stole it. Was Matheson wrote a terrific kind of, what is this warlord romantic character, and that's why he gets involved, because he sees his wife long dead in this in their times, and they just lifted it and put it into Coppola.
Okay.
And we were talking recently about this TV movie version starring Jack Palance, produced by Dan Curtis, who of course was famous for not only Dark Shadows, but he also produced The Night Stalker.
Okay.
And how kind of significant that was to fans of Kelley and I's age, because in those days you had no video on demand. We didn't even have VCRs at that point. So to see the films you wanted, you had to religiously go through the TV guide every week and mark them off and make sure you were there, because they weren't going to rerun them. And here was a Dracula movie that was on primetime, brand new Dracula movie. So that was a huge, significant incarnation of the character for people of our age.
Nice. So I got a question, guys. This is this is a timeless character, right? And was it a couple years ago, like Saladin Ahmed and Dave Acosta did the Dragon, actually on Kickstarter, which was another Vlad the Impaler story, which like I would recommend reading both of them side by side, because they both follow the same path to darkness, but you guys have slightly different routes, or so like they follow the same road to darkness, but you have different routes, right? So like it's like very cool, like two sides of a coin kind of deal, right? But like, and just recently, like Tynion is doing the Universal Studios Dracula, but still Dracula, right? Still calling back to these roots. Like these vampirism tendrils are like I mentioned earlier, embedded in all cultures. We've heard so many versions of these stories so many times before, but God damn it, guys, did you do it? You made it like fresh and fun and exhilarating and sexy and exciting. And Kelley, like, dude, your art is, you are a great artist, but you're on some next level shit here, man.
Yeah. Like, the whole time I was writing this, I'm writing it to what I feel is going to be Kelley knocking it out of the park, and then he knocked it off the planet.
Oh my god! Like
I get these dates, and it's even better than I hoped.
And again, what I love hearing that, but I give a lot of credit again to Matt for saying let's go very bright with the colors.
Okay.
And we got Jose Villarrubia, and I do think that makes a big difference. It has that Technicolor bright look that you want, because it didn't compete with the inks. I
Yeah.
mean, they actually bring out all the inks and all the line work and
Yeah.
all that
Yeah,
stuff.
from the very beginning, I was like, Kelley, most people color you wrong.
Yeah.
You know, they try to color you dark and moody. You already supplied the dark and moody. You know, we need bright colors here to make the shadows that you already drawn kind of pulsate.
Well, I thought what was funny was it took a bunch of us old guys to make something look really new.
Yeah.
And that's what happened was everybody.
And we're, of course, you know, we're paying homage to the stuff that we loved when we were kids. Heavy metal, eerie, creepy, you know.
Yeah. Hammer films.
Yep. Hammer films. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Curvaceous women. You
Yeah.
got a handful
Matt
of them
promised
in there.
that. Matt promised it like Renfield gets promised rats, and he delivered.
Nice.
But you know, you were talking there about all these different versions, and you know that has been true since the novel was first in publication. Of course, the very first version was an unauthorized, pirated version of the story, Nosferatu, one of the most significant silent films of all time. But I keep coming back to the attitude that he's like the first supervillain.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
In that he has a sophistication, he's a monster, he's smart, he's attacking an unwary kingdom with his preternatural powers. You know, he has a scheme, he has a plan. Whereas, you know, previously most monsters were just kind of reactionary. You know, he's got a goal, and
he makes you want to be bad. A little bit, right?
Yeah,
like that's a good villain. When a good villain has you like, I kind of get it, you know, or depending on what you're reading, you're like, yeah, fuck Captain America. You know, like when you have those reactions and yeah, when you're like, you're screw the church, let's be vampires, right? Like it does something. And you, even with this tumultuous, creepy journey that you send Vlad through, both you guys, you still come out at that end where I'm like, yeah, I think I would take that offer too, right? I think I would go to this.
Well, Matt, what Matt
educational experience. I don't want to say too much. Like
Matt's thing is the price of everything he does is always there is a price.
Okay.
Yeah, and it is what makes. I mean, all the things that you wonder. Actually, what Matt did is it's all the things you thought you should have wondered and you didn't. And that's what he was bringing out was all the stuff he went, oh yeah, why didn't they think?
Yeah.
You know?
I've been brewing on this book for years.
Yeah.
And I first started talking, I started posing these questions. He was like, you're right. God damn it, you're right.
Yeah. It made me feel like I didn't know the character. And that's cool because if you're going to tell people, please come support this, read it, whatever, you better live up to the hyperbole. You better live up to the words. I knew when I read the script, I knew this is going to, people who read it, this is the thing I love. The few people who've read it already have already said it's the kind you recommend to somebody. It's the thing that you say, here, read this. You have to read this because they want to share that enthusiasm. And I was feeling that when I read the script. I just knew that this will do the work for me. I don't have to do anything. Once they read it, any mistakes I make, they're going to forgive because this is so new.
There's no mistakes.
There's no
The perfect comic is finally here, and it's on Kickstarter, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I will say, you know, again, as I keep describing it, it's a sublime collaboration. It's like, you know, we both really play to each other's strengths in every way. Yeah. And the sum is greater than the whole of the part, or the whole is greater than the sum of the parts.
Matt gives me a lot of emotion, and I'm an emotional artist. I need that emotion. So he just doesn't have, like, if people are talking, they're doing something, you know, and what they're doing is different than what they're saying. So that gives me even more to play with. Yeah. So then I can work out a creepy or odd image, and then it will go with what they're saying. And it's two different things, but it gets the same point across. That's very, very hard to get in a script. Yeah. Usually a writer says, ooh, I better explain it all. Matt just goes, the drawing shows it. Here's what's going on.
Well, I think a leg up I have there is, number one, I always trust my readers to
not be
figure shit out. You know, yeah. I don't need to over explain stuff. I explain just enough, you know.
Good. Nice.
And secondly, I'm an artist too. I draw too. So, you know, when I'm writing, I'm always writing from a kind of visual standpoint. You know, my scripts tend to say, you know, panel 1, and you'll have a sentence describing what's happening in that panel. But I always highlight in capitals the first like 2 or 3 words. Dracula turns to regard the blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So those first 2 words have to punch you with what's happening in that panel.
It works.
The rest of it is detail.
It works. And it makes
are the descriptive, simplified essence of what's going on in that panel.
And it makes the characters come alive in your head. So when they're on it, there are so many shots I'll look at and I go, you know, in other hands, this would be dull, but here it's exciting. This is really different. And that's why you probably liked what I've done to that point is there's this charge in every panel, charge in the pages. There's not a dull thing in this book. And that's saying something for something this big. Matt wrote several tremendous sequences, and they take several pages to do, but they all stitch together and they make this huge, wonderful, epic story. And each scene builds upon the other. That's hard to do. I mean, it's a pleasure to go through, and when someone's handling it right, it's like David Lean or something like that. You're just going, wow, you know. But you realize how much work had to go in this. And
I will say we're you know, again, it's going to be 4 graphic novels. I'm about halfway done with the script, and Kelly's about a third of the way done drawing the second one.
Yep.
Nice.
And each one of them, we're very distinctly going for a different texture and a different atmosphere in each one. Still very distinctly Dracula.
Yeah.
Okay.
But a different aspect every single time. So when you read all 4 of them together, it is this sprawling epic. But you could read each one individually and be fully satisfied.
And that's the trick.
But don't do that. Buy all of them, right? Like
definitely buy all of them. Yeah,
buy all of them. If you guys
But
can't, you leave your PayPal in the chat. We'll forward the money to Matt.
If someone was reading out a sequence, like read 3 or read 4 or read 2, they would get a complete experience and it would be fine. If you read them in sequence, then it becomes Lord of the Rings.
Okay. That's quite the. I'm with you, dude. You are on to a greatness.
Yeah.
I want to show. We got Joe Mulvey, comic artist extraordinaires in the chat saying, since Matt and Kelley have successfully tackled Dracula, who would they want to take on next in the monster universe? Me and Kelley draw the Mummy.
Dude, we've got like 4 more years on this one.
Yeah. Let's launch this new property tonight on Blake's Buzz.
Who knows? Maybe Dracula will end up in Egypt, Matt.
This is a terrific opportunity to point out that to do this Kickstarter, we had to form a business entity, an imprint called Orlok Press. And Orlok, of course, is named after the vampire's name in Nosferatu, the very first, again, unauthorized version of Dracula. Our logo is a stylized picture of the character of Nosferatu. We have plans to continue Orlok Press past these 4 books.
Yes, we do.
That's still a very nascent stage, but it will focus on horror, probably classic horror. So yes, monsters are our deep love, and we will keep digging in that grave.
Days.
Monsters are what brought me into doing comics. I loved monster comic books, monster movies, monster magazines, monster everything. I never knew I would do comics, but that was the thing, and it's the thing I still am a fan of. I still can watch them. So it's very apropos to be doing it now.
Very cool. Shout out to David Azan, who's in the chat. Thank you so much. John Westoff, thank you so much. Sean Haggerty's here. What's up, dude? I didn't even think he's such a huge Swamp Thing nerd. I didn't even think to hit him up. To be fair, I announced it.
Is that Swamp Thing? Is his avatar Swamp Thing? Is the Misfits logo? That's hilarious.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like I'm very, very. Oh, Kevin Joseph back. Thanks, Kevin. I'm very, very lucky with the nerds I get to talk to on the show. I can continuously surprised. And this was like I said, this was one of them. And I didn't even have to beg. Like someone they didn't. Matt and Kelley are way too big time to reach out to me, but their people reached out to me, so it was pretty cool. Like it was like
that's why we have them.
I didn't wake up to like a message from Matt who was like, Blake, I watched your show for a long time. I mean, that would have been cool. Maybe one day, but no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, everything that it's been hard to one up what you guys are saying to each other about this, because usually I'm the one who's like fawning over the book and everybody's like, okay, go on. But you guys are just like such big fans of each other. It's so like genuine and heartwarming. I'm not gonna lie, and it's so funny that all of this love that you have between both of you, love and respect, and the some legit traumatizing scenes that you have both masterfully put onto page here. Okay, I gotta say, I've seen a lot of people impaled, not in like real life. I didn't have like a weird childhood or anything. I'm in Kansas City, Missouri. We don't impale people, we just barbecue stuff. But like I've never seen it. I've never seen the impaling go up the wrong end, guys, and you made me see that a lot. There's a lot. There's a lot of that going on.
That is the way it happens.
Is it that's like, because it's like so like I was a Catholic kid, right? So like the crucifix, right? Like all the imagery and stuff, they always like hammered the nails through the hand. And when you like learn about the human body, that wouldn't support the weight, like the nail would rip out and you'd fall. And so you found out they did it like right here.
Yeah. Yep.
And I was the whole time, it was almost distracting, guys. Like I'm just trying to enjoy, and I enjoyed it fully, but like I kept being like, was this like an artist decision? Like how much, like, because obviously you both did so much research. And I was like,
that's the way they did it.
No,
they would hoist people up like that, plug them, and then the weight of their body would pull them down, and that stake would rip through their entire torso.
Mother of God!
They would grease the stake.
At least they greased it. Yeah. I mean, they're not savages. Thank God. No. Somebody has a heart.
But, with crucifixion, it wasn't the nails that killed you. You died from suffocation.
Broke the legs. Yeah.
Suffocation.
You couldn't pull your body up to breathe. So
yeah.
Horrible way to die. Both of those horrible ways.
All I've wanted to do for the longest time is talk archaic torture tactics with comic book creators. Finally coming through tonight. This is amazing. To switch it, it's a dark book. There's some dark scenes, but there's also a lot of greatness. I do want to bring up the Kickstarter page so that we can show off some of this gorgeous art and some of these cool tidbits that we've all been talking about. As you guys can see, the campaign needs a little bit of help. It's only got 3 days left. Okay. And only at $208,000. Okay, if we all pool together, we can make this
pull us over the finish line.
Blake, you're probably not going to run it now, but I will urge people, if you can see there in that top image, there's a play button. We have a really cool trailer. So
you want me to I can play it.
Go ahead.
Wagner tells me to play the fucking video. I'm going to play the video. All right, I'm going to play the video.
It is said that history is memory enshrined. Some might claim entomb, for history belongs to the bold, the victorious, those who are ravenous for power, no matter the cost. A craving I have manifested for centuries. I am such hunger, incarnate. And this, the history that I have won, against countless enemies, and across 1,000 blood-drenched battlefields. For I am the son of the dragon, Dracula.
Bram Stoker's classic novel created arguably the most famous character in all of literature. Yet it leaves many aspects of Dracula's history and persona only hinted at, and thus incredibly intriguing and mysterious. This series of books will fill in these tantalizing gaps and provide a more complete and terrifying portrait of one of the most popular literary characters of all time.
He had come to me with this great horror idea, stuff I had never thought of, never seen, and I love Dracula. I love vampire horror.
Our collaboration here is the culmination of our longtime friendship and an incredible synthesis of our two lengthy and accomplished careers in comics.
The joy of working on it is absolutely on every page, every panel.
This isn't yet another retelling of the novel in comics form. We're bringing you the never-before-told stories behind the story, the sinister tales hidden in the shadows of the original legend.
The heart of Dracula, blood that flows in his veins. It's as much in telling a story as the blood he spills. And in this, he spills a lot.
I'm not exaggerating when I say that this project is the magnum opus, everything we might have hoped it could be.
This is the journey of my brutal life and bloody undeath down through the centuries. The stories never seen. To defeat the godless, one must become godless. Dracula, Book 1, The Impaler.
Ah, I love that trailer. I get a chill every
too.
time I watch it.
Me too.
Dude, hot damn. That was intense. These nipples could cut stained glass right now. right out of the church window. Wow. Yeah, I wish I could make cool videos. Like how I don't
we
know.
didn't. We hired it out, dude.
Oh, see, well, I mean, you guys are still pretty cool, even if you can't make cool internet videos. Like, if you make the comic, I guess that'll be okay.
That voiceover is mainly the script off the first page. And I said to our video guy, "You know any voice actors?" And he actually had worked with this guy before, and he said, "Well, hey, how about this guy?" And he sent us a couple samples, and both Kelley and I were like, "Yeah, that guy, that's good."
And I'm sure these sold out already, didn't they? These
Kelley's, there is
Kelley
one more of Kelley's left, and there's some of mine. So you can find those on the backer thing down the right hand side there.
I always tell people
that's
like,
obviously the very premium tier. We have
Yeah.
you can buy the book itself for not as much anywhere near.
Yeah, it's not $1,000 to back, but if you're not a coward and you want to get some cool art, maybe throw down $1,000 right now.
Yep,
Like what's stopping you? You can't take it with you. If Dracula gets you tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen,
You'll have something.
$1,000 isn't going to go anywhere. It's going to go to some relative you don't even like.
It actually might hold him off. You might go, okay.
It's like hold a mirror up to him, right?
That's cool.
Kelley's art will save your life, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here. You heard it here.
I'm thinking.
No, as we saw in the video, like all of that art it's insane. Like the color palette, it's every page is like that. And the videos, like I mentioned, it was just very cool how they were able to kind of separate the layers and like add a little motion and blend, very, very cool. But also like
that's the main cover. That's Kelley's main cover.
So this is the hardcover or the trade?
The hardcover, and they
Okay.
again, we wanted to pay homage to those comics, those horror comics that we loved when we were younger. So it's 8.5 by 11, the same size as a European album or Creepy and Eerie.
Yeah,
it's not standard comic book side. That's my variant cover.
Oh, this one's yours. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. That's
All right. All right, chat. Whose is better? No, I'm kidding. Let's start a poll. No, they're both great, guys. Let's see. We got
that was we got early on. We announced it on Twitter. We got, or excuse me, X.
No, we don't say that. We don't say that here, Matt.
we got a note from Leslie Klinger, who is a famous scholar and considered to be a worldwide class Dracula scholar. And he said, "This sounds very exciting." And so I contacted him and said, "Oh, Leslie, I have your new annotated Dracula and I love it. Can we show you the book and maybe get a quote?" So he gave us this terrific quote that made us feel like we had gotten an A+ in Dracula 101.
Yeah, I feel like you guys all those pledges and money raised aside, like that's the one.
Yeah, that was a real stroke. Yeah.
God, yeah, these pages, man. To terrorize and destroy, like these, like that's just, it's kind of poetic. Like some of the dialogue in this is really good. By the way,
it is great.
The back and forth, but like Kelley mentioned, like when people are talking, they're doing things and everything. It's continuously in motion.
Yeah,
which is also. There are sometimes when you don't want it to be, like sometimes you're like begging it to slow down and you're like, I'm not ready for what's about to happen. But like Matt and Kelley are ferocious. They don't give a fuck what you think.
It was also important to keep it period appropriate, to make you really feel like you were in the 15th century. This entire volume takes place in the 15th century.
Yeah.
Yeah. The beats.
And all this is from talking
there's
about how
that
much
big
they like
impalement
it.
scene he was talking about. That's page 1 coming up here.
I love the teeth.
And here, this is a fun little tale. We did page 1 3 times.
Yeah.
And it was all just, Kelley did it. And luckily we have this very open line of communication. And I was like, Kel, it's beautiful, but it's just not what we need. We need to try this again. And we tried it again. And I was like, it's still not what we need. And third time's a charm, because that was fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Kelley, at the second time, were you like, this fucking guy?
No, actually,
be honest, it's a safe space. It's okay.
You begin to trust people. It if you're trying to go for something and it's, I mean, when he would say it, I felt it already. So
yeah, because it's never me talking about the drawing. The drawing is
no,
always
and it's
spectacular.
not.
It's
It's
always
about
the
the tone.
storytelling.
Yeah, it's the tone
It's
of
always
it.
the storytelling. It's like this isn't hitting
Okay.
the beat we want.
No, and I'll be honest with you, the others would have worked.
Sure,
but
yeah,
this
they would
was
have.
this is better though, and you
Mhm.
want better. You don't want what would work. You want better.
Yeah.
So that's the cover to the limited hardcover edition. The logo there has red foil stamping, and it will have a tip-in sheet bound in that is signed by both Kelley and I. Signed, limited,
Ooh.
numbered. There are only 666 copies.
I love that.
Oh, it's so devilish. I like that. And then
we did this gorgeous
wow,
portfolio again,
nice.
harkening back to the days of our youth when
Yeah.
Art portfolios like this were very ubiquitous. Lots of artists did these, and so we chose out 7 just really hot shit pages. I mean, they're all beautiful, but these are big money grabbers, and each page then at the bottom has a little line of a caption that is taken from a line of dialogue on the page. The pages are lettering free. They are just Kelley's raw artwork.
Okay.
But then they are accented by this line of from my script at the bottom.
Yeah.
And they come in a nice sleeve, and they will also have a signed and numbered certificate that both Kelley and I are signing.
What's the size of these bad Mammer Jammers?
They're 11 by 17.
I was about to ask. I was gonna go 11
Yeah,
by
they're full
17,
size of the artwork, and they're offset printing. They're lovely.
Nice.
And there you can buy both the hardcover and the folio.
Okay, so that's just the folio, and then that comes with the book and the folio.
Yeah,
okay.
you get the folio is paired up with the book in both instances, so you can buy the standard edition or the limited signed and numbered edition.
Nice. By the way, Kevin Joseph says, this is a joy. Dream of 1,000 Cats is my favorite single issue comic story ever. And my entire goal in comics is to make a reader feel what I felt when I read Mage and Grendel in middle school.
Thank you, sir.
Very nice.
Thanks for tuning in. Kevin also says he's a coward. So sorry, he's not putting down that $1,000 pledge. We'll forgive you, Kevin, for the nice words.
Man, the realities of life. We understand.
Drive safe. And then also
As
David,
long as you enjoy the
Zon's
book,
chat.
that's all we care about, really.
All right, so David is challenging me. So guys, what I usually do this, I usually read the solicit in a voice. But we played your video, which is a lot cooler than my voice. But
yeah, you could try and match up with that guy.
Yeah.
well, no, I'm not gonna try anything. I'm gonna read it to make a viewer happy. But the video was way cooler. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Anyway. Bram Stoker's classic novel creates and portrays arguably the most famous character in horror literature, but it leaves many aspects of Dracula's history and persona only hinted at and thus incredibly intriguing and mysterious. This series of books will fill in these tantalizing gaps and provide a more complete and terrifying portrait of one of the most popular literary characters of all time. The story begins in this volume, Dracula, Book 1, The Impaler, which explores Dracula's bloody history and tenure at Satan's legendary seminary of the dark arts, the Scholomans. The first graphic novel explores what led to Dracula's to seek out Satan's tutelage, and now he became the Lord of the Undead, explains writer Matt Wagner, who I heard wrote a book called Grendel, who adds to that is finished and just waiting for printing. Give these gentlemen your money, guys. They're hurting. The campaign can't help without you. It won't happen. Dracula will stay buried. I'm just kidding. No, back the campaign. Like that, the campaign's doing great, but you should still back it. I was kidding about the campaign. Flounder.
But this is the opposite time to talk about what you mentioned there. The Scholomans. That is something that's actually mentioned twice in Stoker's novel.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, Van Helsing spends a lot of time telling our band of British heroes about Dracula and vampires in general. And he mentions the fact that legendarily Dracula, we have to assume while he was still alive, attended the Scholomans, which is this Romanian legend of a school of the dark arts way up in the mountains that Satan himself hosts. And the tenure is 7 years, and he takes on 10 students at a time. And it just struck me that, in fact, it's mentioned twice in the novel. And it struck me like, how that's so intriguing. How come nobody's ever done anything with that?
Yeah.
So I decided that's where we're gonna go, you know. And my other big thing was the fact that I have to figure out a way, some extraordinary way that he becomes a vampire. And we won't do spoilers here.
Yeah.
But my thought was, I can't just have him get bitten by another vampire. That's
Which I
fucking
loved.
boring. That's
Oh, I
boring.
love that so much. It was so
Yeah,
perfect.
it has to be something
Grand.
grand to make him the most famous vampire of all time. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. And like born out of rash decision making and slightly hurt pride and
all those
all this
villainous attributes.
all these things like boiling in the cauldron that made it happen. Yeah, okay, so I was gonna bring it up and I was worried about spoilers, but one of my favorite things about this, other than Kelley's, like, Kelley, your art, oh my god, dude, but other than like Kelley's art, was the interaction with the devil. Like,
let's not go too deep down there.
All right, but yeah, the devil being part of it was cool. Like in the school.
We're very happy with our portrayal of Satan. Yeah,
nice. Yeah. All right, sweet.
Having portrayed Satan in other books, yes, this was an outstanding Satan.
Yeah. Very and outstanding. That's the quote right there. Like the best Satan in comics. Which I'm not. That's not.
We worked hard at getting the depiction right too, and I'm very happy with that. You know,
nice. Well, yeah. It was very, very cool, and like I mentioned, like there's a lot of things that these guys are doing that's very fresh and exciting. Like, you know, untraveled territory in the Dracula mythos, which is crazy because you think
it all,
we've heard it all, we've seen it all, yeah. And you guys found something.
But you know, in every incarnation, you know, dating from Nosferatu through to the the Bela Lugosi version, which of course is in most people's minds the most famous film version, you know, the very original talkie version, which I will point out was the first American film that dealt with the supernatural. Every other horror film up until that time had a rational explanation. There weren't really ghosts. There wasn't really a vampire. You know, Phantom of the Opera, Hunchback of Notre Dame. Those are all just about disfigurement. You know.
Yeah.
That was the first American film to deal with the supernatural, and the film is based upon the stage play, and the stage play is what introduced this kind of drawing room mystery sort of aspect of the character. You know, the evening wear, the cloak, you know, the fact that everything takes place in these kind of Victorian stately rooms and such. That's not really the course of the novel. So there's many different ways that people approach this story and adapt it to their own purposes. We wanted to keep it fresh by keeping it honest and faithful to the original source material without treading again over the source material's events, which are portrayed many, many times in comics already.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. We're not doing that.
Yeah, they're not doing it. They're doing something else. They're doing something crazy, and it's fun. It's fun and exciting. And I put the link in the chat. It's going to be on the comments on everything later. But I really encourage everybody to check this out. I'm excited. Now I do want to know though, gentlemen, like both of you have a very impressive background in this industry we're all involved in, right? And like that your works speak for themselves and your names speak for themselves, right? So did you pitch this to people? Did you just want to go crowdfunding? Like what led you guys to Kickstarter and crowdfunding?
So I've been kind of at the vanguard of the indie publishing scene since the indie publishing scene began, you know, and Kelley has basically been an indie artist, you know, wearing the disguise of a mainstream artist for many years.
I snuck in.
He puts on his Dracula cloak and they let him into DC.
Yeah.
And I don't know, the crowdfunding thing just seemed like a new incarnation of the independent artist getting his work published. And we certainly don't want crowdfunding to supplant the local comic book shops. And I don't think it ever will, because not everybody likes shopping this way. Yeah. Like some people love to go into a record store, a bookstore, be surrounded by that creativity and that product, and wander around and have stuff inspire them, pick up something and go, oh, didn't know that, and take it with them. So I think the two can exist side by side just fine. But this was a challenge that neither of us had attempted before, and it just seemed like the perfect launching pad for our big epic here.
I just didn't want any encumberment. I didn't want someone saying no. If
Okay.
that I wanted to impale people and not have
Where you wanted to impale them. Right. Yeah. This pole's going where it needs to go, sir.
I knew reading it that it needed to not be one bit less than what was on paper. So that to me, that was my insistence, was let's be free to just present it to readers as it was, to, as my first reaction. I wanted anyone else to get it. And I felt that I didn't want someone coming in and saying, well, this is fine, this is great, but we can't show this, or we can't do this, or this might offend or something. And art should always be a conspiracy, and Matt wrote a great conspiracy.
And I don't want to make it seem like we are solely responsible for the success we've had so far on this campaign. We've worked with super fan promotions, and they have been absolutely invaluable into helping educate us and guide us down this path. And we really could not have done it without them. So thanks to David, and thanks to Hannah, and thanks to James Aquilone, who is doing the kind of
shepherding,
the mechanical parts. Yep.
And also, they still thanked Superfan after Superfan put them on Blake's Buzz. So I want everybody to write that down. They're still happy. No, I'm just kidding. Well, no, I'm not kidding. I'm glad you're having a good time. You're like, yeah, we're gonna talk to Superfan about this later. Like I'm sorry, but I like that. I like that you guys are on Kickstarter. You have this interesting middle ground, right? There's like the $1 million Keanu Reeves campaigns, right? And then there's like super indie, making a few $100s just to print a few issues of this comic. And you guys are kind of coming out here like right in the middle, and you're like, yeah, we are established creators, but like we just want control. Like we want to be in control of the narrative. We want to be in control of production. And if I want to do something cool like a folio set, I can do it. I can say, yeah, if we raise this amount of money or you pay X amount, we can print it, make it happen.
And we don't have a movie star at the front of our campaign, So, we are just traveling on our own reps here, and gratefully,
God love you.
Our readers have really come out for it. But I fully suspect that it's not just our readers. Dracula reaches across a lot of aisles.
He does.
A lot of people like Dracula.
The mist extends his
tendrils.
Well, I think what's fun too is it just has like you were saying earlier, it has a cool independent underground feel to it, but it's but Matt and I are well known in the mainstream, but I think what we've done is we come across sincere or honest to readers in that world. And
uncompromising.
That authenticity is translated to here. If they trust you in that world to do your own visions of, say, I became a huge fan of Matt when he was at Kamiko, doing his own thing. And then when he went on to do some Batman stuff, it knocked me out because there wasn't a miss. There was nothing different. He didn't change at all. And so I thought, oh, there's a fellow traveler. So when I met him,
that's mainly because I can't draw like other people. So.
Well, neither can I.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
this above all, to thine own self be true.
Right. And so there was just this authentic guy. I mean, I'm always attracted to that. And there is where the cool is in a creator. That's the cool thing,
And both of your cool is in this book. Like, there's Kelley, I'm sorry, I called you Kel because that's what your deal says.
Kel is fine.
Okay. Fine. I call him that all the time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I just met him tonight. I'm not gonna hey, what's up, K Money? All right, listen.
K Money's great too. That's what my wife calls me.
But there's well, I'm not calling you what your wife calls you. You're cool, man, but like, come on. You threw me off. I had a good question. All right. There's a moment towards the end, a really good splash page where we see our main Nosferatu character and his cape is billowing and wrinkled and clustered and all sorts of like old school 90s Batman DC fun kind of and I really felt some old like some old 90s comic vibes
What you're
in
seeing,
that one panel.
what you're seeing is everything, like everything that makes me work. I got in this. So all my stuff came from, like Matt said, I come from this heavy metal from the 70s and all the great horror comics from DC and Marvel then, and creepy and eerie and all those kind of things. So when I got this, I went, what if it were 1976 and Matt and I were doing this then? That's how I was thinking the whole time.
Is that how you drew this whole thing?
And that,
You were
yeah,
like,
Much, yeah, and
when-
you see that in
because-
Jose's colors as well, you know.
yeah, because you're competing then with, I call that like the age of illustration. So many of those artists were high-level illustrators who were just happening to do comics. So that's what I would look at. And then, like Matt said, don't you want it to be like when you were 15 and you were looking at a heavy metal and you were going to see stuff you'd never seen before, right? You'd rather your mom catch you with a Playboy than a heavy metal.
than that, yeah.
You know, reading when you were at the magazine rack, of course, you had the spinner rack for comics, and of course, at the top of that, it said "Hey Kids, Comics."
Yeah.
And then over on the magazine rack, they had creepy and eerie and heavy metal and all that shit. And there was a distinct aura of danger reaching up and pulling down those magazines. And we wanted to duplicate that.
I think we did. And I think we did because when I've been rereading some of the heavy metals, and I went, man, we would have fit right on in.
Yeah.
Yep.
You guys did get that vibe. I still remember when my dad took me to a comic book shop as a kid, and the day that we learned about the comics code.
Yeah.
Because my dad didn't know about that. So for the longest time, I had like I had Capullo's Violator, like Alan Moore and Capullo's Violator in my backpack anywhere I went. And there's like, like looking back on it, there's like intestines and blood and severed limbs all on this cover, right? And my dad my dad was like, it's a comic book, it's all for kids. And one day he took me to the comic shop and I found the Dark Horse Aliens comics, which my dad had showed me Aliens at a young age, which is why I was into this, right? And so my dad's like, yeah, cool, get that. And he's about to buy it. And this fucking clerk, and I wish I could track this guy down one day, not to like, shame him. No, I don't want to like cause him harm, but just to like, you know what you did to me? But like he called me. He was like, told my dad, he was like, this is like for more adults, right? And my dad's like, adult? No, it's a comic book. What are you talking about? And the guy's like, well, no, like some comic books have like sex and nudity and violence in them, and then these have this code on them and they're safe for your kid. And so then dad didn't let me buy the Aliens comic, and I was like, yeah, it's funny, like just looking back on that. And then like today when it's like comic shops need all the sales, like could you imagine like a clerk being like, don't buy this for your kid?
Probably because he'd get in trouble if he didn't.
The original comics code, in fact, you could not portray vampires or werewolves.
Really?
During the height of its power, which is why when Marvel introduced Morbius, he was the living vampire. That's how they escaped that.
No, that's ridiculous.
As soon as they went against it, as soon as they dumped it, that's when you got Son of Satan.
Yep.
Hellrider, the daughter of Satan.
Wow.
And they just went full throated. Tomb of Dracula. They
Yep.
just went all to the wall with it, man.
Proof that censors are just fucking dumb.
Well, they
Like,
weren't paying attention. Nobody was paying attention. Nobody cared then anyway. So that's why it went away. Just there was no one in the office anymore to look them over.
Editorial was
God.
sleeping. Yeah. That was fun. I met Jimmy Palmiani a while back, and they did a Marvel Knights panel at a con, and Jimmy was talking about how like they had to sneak all this stuff past editorial, and they would be like, the editorial would be like, send us the scripts, and Jimmy would be like, yeah, we'll get them to you. And then it's like script cutoff day, and Jimmy would just like send them to the printer, not send them to editorial. And so like that's how they got away with some of the stuff at Marvel Knights, and then like just all this stuff. It's that's what it's nice about today, where we can all just tell the stories.
Neil Gaiman and I used to talk about in the early days of Vertigo, they wouldn't let us use the word fuck.
Yeah.
Mainly because the printer wouldn't let them use the word fuck.
Yeah, the printer.
Which is just weird. That's the ass controlling the horse. But so Neil and I, if we both used this strategy, if you had something questionable that you thought editorial might get upset about, you put a fuck in the script somewhere, and they would focus on the fuck and let the other thing go.
Oh no, like a distraction? That's funny. Dude, I work
Look
for
over
a
here.
production company.
Yeah.
And we just had to find a new printer for a client's trade paperback because like everything, print files, editorial, dude, this trade paperback's ready to go. It's ready to zip, zam, zoom, go to the printer and get fulfilled to Kickstarter people, right? And so like we get them all the files and shit, and they come back and they're like, yeah, the printer won't print this because pages like 94 and 95 have naked people on them and a sex scene. And it was like, we were going to give you thousands of dollars and you
I'd
won't.
be curious to see if that printer's aversion carries through their entire business or whether it's selective to comics.
Yeah, it would be interesting. Yeah, but it was just I just couldn't believe it, man. I was just like, do you not want like the checks cleared, baby? Like, come on. Like, but anyway, so yeah, like we had to find a new printer. We went to a Canadian printer. They printed a Canada, was like, we'll print your American titties, it's fine. And they like didn't care, but I was just like, that it just boggled my mind. And because I don't think a lot of people realize that, like, yeah, Kickstarter is great, and you can almost do whatever you want as long as you fulfill your project, right? But I mean, you have like total creative freedom, but then when it comes time to fulfillment, when it comes time to production, there are so many like stepping stones and barricades and other shit. Like, I don't think there are so many people that don't realize this on Kickstarter that like, yeah, even with like, when you have people like you guys with like name recognition and you have people helping you, like it's such a heavier weight to do all this than compared to like if you would have pitched this to other publishers and stuff. And so like knowing that now you guys are in it, right? And you've already told me that you've started production on the second graphic novel. So it's not like you guys are like, actually, no, we're done. We changed our mind. But when did you guys decide to start production on the graphic novel? Like, what was there a number that Kickstarter hit, or did you guys just believe in it? And when one was finished, you
mean, what was our goal? What was our financing goal?
No,
it was $666.
Well, I remember
number
that.
of the beast alive.
but when did you guys decide it was like a safe bet to start production on the second graphic novel?
We did it on spec. We're doing it all on spec.
Oh, really?
We knew, again, if the Kickstarter didn't work out, as you mentioned several times, we have big reps. We could take this somewhere. Somebody would publish this.
Yeah,
us.
I didn't worry about that. I just wanted.
It was just this particular form was something we were.
I knew it was so good.
Yeah.
I knew it was so good that someone would publish it. I didn't worry about that. I just wanted to see it. I just physically wanted to see it.
Nice.
And that made it easy.
But again,
nobody else was doing anything like this. I knew nobody was. So,
we both came into it on spec because we both wanted to feel free about it, like we just produced this, that's it, here it is.
Well, cool. Well, obviously I feel like you're feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah.
Other than like having to talk to weirdos like me all the time. And
well,
like,
it's
it's hard.
You can tell, we love talking about it. We are just thrilled.
Oh, man, I didn't know where you were going with that, Matt. I was like, as you can tell.
Yeah, we're thrilled to death with this. We are in love with this project. We really, really are proud of it.
Nice.
And we can't wait for everybody to finally read it. And it's just, it is just hitting all the numbers for us. And I don't just mean mathematical numbers. It is really,
no, it's hitting the erogenous zones, baby.
It's creatively fulfilling in every way.
It's just good comics. And those are getting hard to see anymore, just good, solid, authentic comic.
Yeah, it's good. It's good comics. It's a hell of a ride. Matt, your script, your dialogue, your descriptions, everything's wonderful. Kelley, your art's fucking gnarly, dude. You're both very, very talented, but you can definitely tell that your experience and life lived moments have like brought you here for a reason. And this is one of the reasons. It's not like, and I, so,
for sure. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad it does. Cause it feels like reading it felt like you guys were just very in tune with each other, in tune with the undead, in tune with gothic horror, in tune with, body horror and so many things, so many little elements.
It's the Beatles and Sgt. Pepper's.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like every aspect of it is working, and you're seeing something that rings to the familiar, but is utterly new.
Yeah. That's awesome. So what's this mean for, like, I know you guys got to wrap up. You got to talk to another weirdo after me. But like what's this mean for your future? Like, I mean, like, are you guys going to be like, we're going to crowdfund stuff from now on? Are you still going to play like a publisher game, or are you going to
It
take
remains to be seen. I mean, certainly the
Okay.
rest of the Dracula books will be crowdfunded.
Nice.
What happens to Orlock Press after that remains to be seen. Again, we are just in the chatting stages on that, because again, we have 4 more years of this yet, you know, and that's
There'll be
plenty
a
of
lot of
time
good stuff.
to get to construct a battle plan for what we want to do.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of stuff through Orlock because it's an organic thing, and Matt or I will have an idea, and now we have a venue to do it.
Nice.
And you know, on the other side of things, I have at the end of this month a big new Grendel project coming out that I'm super proud of. It's my reimagining of the original Grendel storyline, Devil by the Deed, which in its original format was only 37 pages long. Completely redrawn and rewritten the whole thing. It's now 121 pages of all new, brand new story and art.
What?
It's colored by my son Brennan. That ships November 22nd.
Are you still at Dark Horse?
Yeah, that's Dark Horse. Yeah, Dark
Oh,
Horse.
thank God.
Dark Horse.
Oh,
Dark Horse
all
is
right.
your
I was
baby.
like-
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's sweet.
Yeah, I got no complaints about working with publishers. Again, it's just this project seemed right for the Kickstarter campaign.
But sometimes when you get a taste of freedom, it's hard to go back.
Well,
You know,
I
like,
had freedom my entire career, man.
Me too. I'll be honest with you. I did too. The only, I haven't had anyone. The good thing about being like us, is
both
when
these
we
guys
call-
right now are like, no one ever told us no.
No, it's
fucking rock
if you're
stars.
like Matt
Never,
and I,
yeah.
they come to you. They know what you do, right?
Nice.
They know what, if they're coming to you, they know what they're going to get. So it's not a surprise when we do what we do.
You know, I always point out the stuff I've done for DC, and Kelley will back this up as well in his own career, is, you know, you work with editors that know enough to leave you alone.
Yeah.
You know, you don't hire people like us because we are doing the status quo, because we are filling the house style.
Mhm.
You hire us because you want a very unique take on things. And in that instance, you have to just get the fuck out of the way and let us go, you know?
Yeah.
And so, you know, the editors I've worked with over the years, Karen Berger, Bob Schreck, Archie Goodwin, all of them just left me alone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. They just basically sit back, do your thing, entertain me. They became the first fan, the first reader of the book.
Yep.
In my experience.
Yep.
You know.
That's so cool, guys. I'm so happy. I'm so happy for both of you. And I really hope, like, I hope you guys find new readers, and I hope some of your older, because I won't lie, like I knew who you guys were, but like I did some backlogging, and I stumbled across some new entities from both of you that I was excited to experiment. Like, you know, like I didn't know about Swamp Thing. Like I like when I stumbled across it, I was like, oh shit, like, you know, and so that was
Well, here,
exciting.
I'll give a shout out then to tie into the success of Netflix's Sandman series. DC is reprinting in 2 huge compendiums. They're each about 900 pages.
Yeah.
The 70 issue run that I co-wrote called Sandman Mystery Theater.
Yep.
Which is one of the very first DC costumed heroes, the Golden Age Sandman.
Yeah.
We take a totally crime noir sort of approach to the character and his adventures.
And that's out, right? You get volume 1 right now, right?
Volume 1's out, yeah. Both of them have a very enthusiastic introduction written by Patton Oswalt, who's a huge
Nice.
fan. Yeah.
Who'd you make mad? Why didn't they give you the omnibus? I'm fucking with you.
They
I'm
are.
fucking with you.
They're just a different word, man. I mean, it's a fat ass omnibus.
No,
Yeah.
but if the compendiums are like, yeah, they're, or wait, is it a hardcover or a
It's
softcover?
No, it's softcover. Yeah.
It is. Okay. All right. Sorry. I was being a jerk. I'm sorry. I was trying to make a joke and it didn't. I'm sorry.
Anyway, that first volume's out now, and the second will come out soonish.
And it is very cool. It's a very, very, very cool book. Both of these guys, if you just fucking Google them or look them up on, if you guys subscribe to any of the apps, like the comic book apps, if you look up their name, it's going to bring you a whole bunch of comics that you can dive in and explore. And I really, really do recommend you heading over to Kickstarter and you pledging for the digital. If you guys want to save a few bucks, the digital is a great price, or you can get a couple versions of the hardcover. You get that portfolio edition. You can maybe get some original art.
There's kind of something for every price.
Something for everybody.
price.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, guys, this has been like, for real. I can't say this enough. Like, I the respect I have for both of you is it reigns supreme, and the things that you guys have done for comic books mean a lot to me and to my audience and to not just my audience but to nerds all around the world. And it's very, very, very cool to see you guys on a new platform with a new comic making big waves. And all I hope is that the other volumes of this like continue, and very, very excited about your publishing imprint, whether it stays crowdfunding or goes with someone else. Like, it's going to be something exciting to watch. And on that note, on the exciting to watch note, guys, real quick, like, let us know, like, I don't know if you got like a newsletter or a Substack or anything you can shout out, let us know. Kelley, where's the best place to keep track of you online, bud?
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm there.
Nice.
I don't do Insta, but I'm Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah.
And here's I just want to give one more last shout out that the Kickstarter campaign wraps on Thursday. So if you are at all intrigued by this, get on over there now.
Yeah. You only got a few days left. It's gonna happen. Well, I mean, it's happening. It's funded and
It's
good to go.
But your chance will be over soon. So
Yeah. Because if once it's done, you may have to wait. And then and even if it does get reprinted somewhere, it's probably going to be reprinted as a soft cover. So if you want that hardcover, especially if you want like some tip-in pages or some cool prints, like this is
pages.
Your
I
moment,
will point
folks.
out, Kelley has done incredibly beautiful end papers for the hardcover as well.
Nice. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Like as good as the interiors look, this hardcover is going to be a beautiful hardcover. I feel like no matter what version you get, guys. Again, it was an honor and a pleasure getting to talk to both of you. You both live it, so you probably don't realize it, but the impact that you have on this industry, and when people whisper your names in the corners of comics, right? People listen and people turn their heads and lift their ears to the sky. And I hope people will continue to do this for Dracula Volume 1 and the following volumes. This is a very, very cool book, ladies and gentlemen, for real. Like the art is otherworldly, and Matt's scripts, I mean, they're all fucking good, but this one is a little bit better. It's just, you guys have you've like formulated this experience. You've brewed this, you've leveled up in the RPG of life, and this is your.
We agree with that.
This is your new ultimate attack for now,
and
right?
think I can speak for both Kelley and myself in that all the stuff you were saying there, we never get tired of hearing it.
So remind them, leave a comment. If you back their Kickstarter, leave a comment about how excited you are. But no, guys, both of you, this was so cool to get to talk to you. Very, very excited for future stuff. Blake's Buzz is always here. Like, I'm here for all 4 volumes, baby. You want to come back and nerd it up? I'm here for you. And I wish you both the best of success. And damn you, Kelley. Like, can't believe you. I'm always going to see that rod up someone's asshole now. But I'm not going to hate you for it. I'm not going to hate you for it.
In other words, you'll be haunted.
Yeah, I'll be continuously haunted by the imagery of Dracula Volume 1. And if this is what they're doing in Volume 1, what are they going to Volume 2? What are they going to do in Volume 3? And then how are they going to end it all in Volume 4? You got to follow along, ladies and gentlemen. And it's going to be a good ride to follow along. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We so appreciate you. I really hope I made your shitty Monday slightly better. Even if you had a good Monday, no one has good Mondays, and Mondays suck. But when you get to talk to Matt Wagner, Kelley Jones at the end of the night, man, you know what happens? You have a good Monday. Love more, hate less, read comics. If you look in the description, if you look in the comments, I got links for you guys to get to this campaign. You got 3 days to back it. I cannot again recommend it enough. It's great comic booking from great comic book creators. This is what you get on Kickstarter for crazy fucking hot gems like this. And I mean, and look at that shirt. Like, look at Matt's shirt. Like Matt came.
Well, I had to do something to compete with Kelley's background there.
They both dressed to success, right? All right, everybody, thank you so much. Follow this campaign. Follow everybody. Thank you both so much for putting up with me, and man, Dracula's fucking awesome, guy. Everybody go back to this book right now. It is so good, and I'll be back tomorrow on Blake and Cole Read a Book, and then I got shows It's be a busy week, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you got time to nerd out with me because we are gonna be here. But until tomorrow, have a wonderful night.
It's Blake's Buzz Live.
All right,
Thanks,
gentlemen,
guys.
you survived.
I gotta
Very
go have
good.
something to eat.
Yep. Guys, it was
Before
a
our next
pleasure. Have a
show,
great
right?
night.
See ya.
All right.
Bye.
See ya.
I don't think Matt Wagner liked me.